The eye-watering stench was getting stronger, and I knew that the den was close. It was the unmistakable smell of troll. I've done this countless times before. It was all part of the job. I crested the last rock and found it. The cave mouth was smeared with dried feces, something trolls typically use to ward off other creatures. But for me, it was a reassurance that this was an active den. It was just after noon, the sun high in the sky. I waited behind a boulder within clear sight of the cave mouth, making sure I was not being watched, and I wasn't. So I pulled out my flint and tinder and made 3 separate fires around the cave mouth. I placed plenty of sticks and branches down so the fire would burn hot and long. I lit my torch, entered the cave, with my sword ready in the other hand. The light of the torch danced around the cave walls, casting the illusion of movement over the natural stone's irregular parts. But I knew better. My focus was on sound rather than sight. Every now and then I paused, letting the sounds of the cave wash over me, listening. Yet I still only heard the hum of the cave and the crackle and pops of my torch. The cave was deeper than I anticipated, but thankfully it did not branch off. My foot felt a crunch beneath it. Still keeping my attention ahead of me, I knelt down and picked it up. It was bone, as I suspected. I threw it back. I must be close now. I grabbed one of the oil skins and poured the contents on the ground in front of me. The fumes were strong and filled my nostrils immediately. Good, I thought to myself. I grabbed my second oil skin with the same hand as my torch and pressed forward. The cave floor became more sandy than stone, making a softer, crunchier sound where I stepped. It was no more than 5 paces when I heard it. Popping the cap off my oil skin with my mouth, it now became a waiting game. I stood there staring into the darkness. The flickering lights afforded me only so much sight. Just beyond the darkness, I then finally saw them. 2 silvery eyes staring back at me. It was a big one. Good. To be less afraid. Beshimp my lope, I said in Jotun. The troll was noticeably surprised. The beast responded. Dit liv amit. Good, I smirked. The troll then lunges at me with one of its massive hands. Draw to have it, Fan. I catch the hand with a backswing of my sword, slicing open its wrist. The beast recoils. Now is my chance. I toss the torch and oilskin to the side of the troll. It turns its attention momentarily. Just enough time. I then dash, sliding feet first, feinting attack from below the beast. But then I quickly jump to the side opposite to the oilskin, catching purchase along the cave walls. Using my momentum, I rise up, take 2 steps off the rock, leaping towards its face, thrusting my sword deep into the side of its head. The troll screams in pain. The sword landed in the right spot, I was sure, but it only afforded me a moment. I rolled to the oilskin and torch. Thankfully, it did not extinguish itself. I pour the contents of the skin over the backside of the troll and touch it with the torch. Its backside then lights up. Smell from its burning flesh reaches my nose. I step myself around the troll, putting it between me and the back of the cave. The troll painfully pulls the sword out of its head. Black ichor-like blood pools out of its wound. It roars with its arms stretched out akimbo. Its eyes and brain have not yet connected, leaving it momentarily blinded. But now that the sword is out, it is only a matter of time. The troll can feel the burning on its back and tries to snuff it out. It whelps and falls to the ground, thrashing about. I slide dirk and iron rod from my belt, get right up to the troll's neck, waiting for it to turn over. When it does, I slam the dirk down into its spine just below the skull, twisting the dirk back and forth, a sickening wet crunch with each motion. The troll screams again, but is stifled by the blood, no doubt collecting in its throat. I remove the dirk and firmly slide the rod into the hole, pressing the button. I carefully step back. The troll tries its best to get up, but it can't push against the rod. With torch and dirk, I go from limb to limb, slicing tendon and muscle, then cauterizing each wound by igniting a bit of black powder so it doesn't regenerate. Now I can take my time. Troll liver fetches a particularly high price in the alchemist's market. Then I hear it, a shifting of sand from behind me. I turn fast, expecting the worst. At first I do not spot anything, but then I look down and find 3 sets of silvery eyes looking up at me from the end of the cave wall. I then toss my torch, landing feet from the tiny troll brood. They huddle together, their eyes so full of fear. Well, time to get to work.
Hello, and thank you for joining me. We are going to talk about trolls in Pathfinder 2e. First, let's discuss their appearance. A troll is a monstrous giant with a rough green hide, clawed hands, and a bestial face with a hideous tusked underbite. Male trolls typically stand 8 feet tall and weigh 300 pounds. Females are larger, weighing up to 500 pounds and sometimes reaching heights of 10 to 12 feet. Trolls have a hunched posture that can make them appear shorter than they actually are. Their skin is usually green, with females having a darker shade than the males. Moving on to ecology. The young are raised by the females, who drive away adult males, as the males would otherwise eat their own young. The females live in family groups sometimes. They cast out or killing or typically drowning or starvation any members who show weakness among their litter. The males live a solitary life, typically hunting for themselves. They prefer to lair in caves or dark woods. Moving on to society. Trolls believe they were created by the demon lord Urzel, who loves to test them by inflicting upon them incursions of ogres and humans, storms, and worst of all, forest fires. Urzel sometimes grants his followers the power of divination. Such trolls are known as augurs and predict the future by ripping out their own entrails and reading omens from them. Augurs are known to operate in Kaer Maga and the Vile Fortress in the eastern Vudra. Trolls are known to sometimes keep winter wolves as much abused pets, relying on their trollish regeneration to survive the wolves' sharp fangs and freezing breath. Trolls on Galarian. Trolls are commonly encountered in the wilder areas throughout the Inner Sea region, but are particularly common in the northern Avestan. The River Kingdoms, the lands of Lenorn kings, and Numeria specifically have a long-standing issue with trolls. In the realm of Irison, trolls are often part of the general population, and ice trolls are employed as guards in the city of Whitethrone. The largest tribe of trolls in Galarian lives in the southern Vudra area. They are known as the Mist Shaper trolls and are ruled by a massive female called Zelnud. She considers herself to be Zurel's agent and seeks to restore a Galarian to the perfect condition of the Age of Darkness. Before we get into the stat block, one thing I would like to point out is one of their trademark abilities. These fearsome trolls regenerate all damage not inflicted through the fire or acid type damage, and even a full-size troll can regrow from even the tiniest scraps of flesh. Okay, moving on to the basic troll stat block. Your troll is a creature level 5. It is large. It can be found on page 314 of the Pathfinder 2e Bestiary. It has a plus 11 to its perception, dark vision, and it speaks the Jotun language, the language of the giants. For its skills, it has a plus 12 to its athletics, a plus 12 to intimidation, Moving on to the abilities, it has a +5 to strength, +2 to dexterity, +6 to con, -2 to intelligence, +0 to wisdom, and a -2 to charisma. This is definitely a very strong and hardy creature. It has a 20 to its AC, a +17 to its fortitude save, a +11 to its reflex save, and a +7 to its will save. It comes with 115 hit points and the nasty regeneration 20. We already know that trolls regenerate, and we also know that acid or fire deactivates that function. The weaknesses is fire 10, so you throw any kind of fire at this thing and it's going to do a lot of damage. It does come with an attack of opportunity, so DMs do not forget that. Your basic troll has 30 feet of movement, and it comes with 2 basic melee attacks. First, it's Jaws, which is a +14. Comes with reach, 10 feet, and its damage is a 2d10 +5 piercing. The other type, its Claw, is also a +14 to hit to attack. It comes with the Agile traits and also the reach, 10 feet. Its damage is 2d8 +5 slashing damage. The Troll has a nasty follow-up with its Claw attack. It has the rend function. Its requirements are the monster hits the same enemy with 2 consecutive strikes of the listed type in the same round, so 2 claw attacks. The effect then becomes the monster automatically deals that strike's damage against to the enemy. This, of course, is very nasty, and if you're picking on one player, a lot of damage can ensue. The trolls actually have a couple different variations to them. The Cavern Troll, the Frost Troll, the Jotun Troll, Troll Tombstone, of course, Troll King, and the Two-Headed Troll. Let's talk about some of the highlights of each of these variants, starting with the Cavern Troll. The Cavern Troll can be found on page 265 of the Pathfinder 2e Bestiary. It is large, and it's a creature type level 6. It's a little beefier than your basic troll, your common troll. It still has regeneration 20, deactivated, of course, by acid and sonic in this case, so not fire, so acid and sonic. And it has immunities to bleed. So really, the players are going to counter this in caves, and it's going to throw a twist to the normal deactivation by fire, and you're really going to throw your players for a loop unless they roll a good skill check and they figure out and they know the history of this creature. It does come with the sunlight petrification, so basically if this gets exposed to light, it becomes slowed, and if it's too long out there, it can basically become petrified. If you throw this at your players in a cave and there's no way to get into any sunlight, then that's going to be pretty hard. Unless, of course, they have the Sunburst spell. The Cavern Troll also has a ranged rock, so that's a little different than the common troll. So they have a little ranged attack, kind of toss things around. Moving on to the Frost Troll, it's a creature type level 4, can also be found on page 264 of the Pathfinder 2 Bestiary. It is large. Much like the Cavern Troll, this is kind of conflicting with rock or ice now, so now it's become cold. Its regeneration is 15, a little bit less than the 20. It is deactivated by acid or fire. It does have immunity cold, and weakness to fire 10 stays the same. It does come with the ranged hatchet, so again, you can throw some ranged stuff at this. Moving on to the Jotun Troll, basically your big giant heavy-hitting giant troll. This thing is huge. It's a creature level 15. It's found on page 267 of the Pathfinder 2e Bestiary. Its stats are significantly beefed up. It comes with the head regrowth. I mean, this thing's got like tons of heads, like 9 heads. It has the head regrowth and multiple opportunities, so you can really take multiple attack of opportunities with this thing because all these heads are around it looking in different directions. This is a really tough fight. So don't throw this at your players unless you really want to abuse them. All of its attacks are much beefier. It has some area of effect attacks. It can also swallow some players. This is a really big boss fight. Moving on to the Tombstone Troll. This is a small creature. creature level 1. It's a small troll. All of its stats are much lower. It comes with a little more necrotic theme to it. It only has 25 hit points, and its regeneration is 5. It's deactivated by acid and fire, which we already know, and the positive energy. It has weakness to fire 5. I get why they did that 5 instead of the normal 10. It's just a much less beefier creature. It also has weaknesses to positive energy. I mean, it's close to being undead, if not undead. But so there's that. Moving on to the Troll King. The Troll King is a large in size. Its creature level is 10. It's beefier, but not as beefier as the giant troll, the Jotun troll. It does have some area effect abilities. Its regeneration is 30, which is quite significant. It's, of course, deactivated by acid or fire. The same thing, weakness to fire. It has some reactions, vigorous shake. This is something you want to pit your players up with, maybe this Troll King and maybe some other minor trolls that can kind of distract your players, and they have to make a decision, fight off the lesser things or this thing. Moving on to the two-headed troll. This is a large creature. Creature level is 8. It's found on page 266 of the Pathfinder 2e Bestiary. And it is just a slightly bigger, slightly heavier hitting than your common troll. Its regeneration is 25 with a little bit, well, probably a little more HP of 190. It's still weak. It still has weakness to acid and fire in the sense of it deactivates its regeneration. Weakness fire is 10. Because of the two heads, it kind of blends a little bit of the Jotun troll with a head regrowth. But again, it only comes with 2. It has a ranged attack, so you don't have to be stuck there. You can throw things at your players. These are all the different variants. So really, trolls are varied, and they can be used for a lot of things in your game, especially if your players are going from cold. I could even see you doing some desert variants or plain variants, throwing some different things at the players. Feel free to kind of expand on it and homebrew your own different type. Well, this is all I have on the troll in Pathfinder 2e. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to doing another video.